That degree of acceptance is based upon understanding and cooperation between all levels of law enforcement. Leadership must evidence, I think, in every area of this country, more statesmanship, whether it be leadership that you or I may agree or disagree with. We at least ought to, at the same time, try to remember that statesmanship is paramount for the safety and for the good of our country. And the united strength of Congress, the courts, the President, and the law of the land. The key to law and order in Mississippi remain the extent to which state and local authorities recognize their responsibilities and discharge them. In a spirit of joint undertaking, let us continue to move forward, promoting the strong qualities of decency and justice, which are the foundation of a real accomplishment in the activities of carrying out law and order. Now, I would like to, before I open the meeting for questions, and
Civil rights workers. Can you comment on this or any other aspects of the investigation?
All that I can say on that is that the investigation is intensively being carried on. There is, at the present time, no positive indication that there is an imminent break. Of course, in the case of this kind, as you gentlemen who cover these kind of cases know, or any cases dealing with criminal activities know, sometimes they break quickly and suddenly. Other times it's a prolonged effort. This may be a prolonged effort, but it will be continued until it is solved, until we find the bodies of those 3 men that have disappeared and the persons who may be responsible for their disappearance. Yes. We most certainly do not and will not give protection to civil rights workers. In the first place, the FBI is not a police organization. It's purely an investigative organization, and the protection of individual citizens, either natives of the state or coming into the state, is a matter for the local authorities. The FBI will not participate in any such protection. I personally have an inclination toward that feeling. I don't close it as an absolute certainty, but I consider that they are there.
Mr. Hoover, I'm Jerry O'Leary of the Washington Star.
Yes. Well, as to the drive here, I can't make any comment as to that aspect. I did testify before Congress last January that the communists in this country had organized very intensely a drive to infiltrate into the racial discord and discontent in the country. And obviously that is being carried forth in every field of activity that the communists can find any fodder to feed on. But as to the actual individual participation here, I cannot make any more specific comment than that.
I have one more
question, because I've seen some fantastic statements that made that practically all of our agents in the Deep South offices are men who've been born and reared in the Deep South. I can say that 70% of the agents in the 23 southern offices were born in the North, and the remaining 30% were born in the South. I don't share the feeling that is been advanced by some extremists that a man, because he's born in the South, can't conduct or won't conduct a fair, impartial investigation of any case that is assigned to him, whether it be a racial case or whether it be a criminal case. I am confident that every agent in this Bureau, from wherever he may come, of whatever race he may be, or whatever color he may be, will conduct his duties as a responsible, dedicated man. But as to your specific question, Mr. O'Leary, as I say, 70% of the agents in the 23 southern offices are men who have been born in the north of the Mason-Dixon line. I don't know, it was not as a direct result of the recommendations made by Mr. Dulles. Mr. Dulles, as a matter of fact, made no recommendations except that, as to the opening of the office, except that he thought there should be closer and better coordination and cooperation. As soon as I read Mr. Dulles' recommendations and talked with Mr. Dulles myself, I felt that one of the steps we could take to meet that recommendation would be to put an office here at Jackson, where the governor is, where the head of the state highway patrol is, where the attorney general of the state is, And that is the reason for the office being opened, so that we can
Stay in the state of Mississippi?
Well, I'd like to stay a long while if I could, but I can't. I will probably be going back to Washington either late today or the first thing tomorrow morning.
Mr. Hoover, do you have any Negro agents in the FBI?
We do. We have had for some time.
Are there any working on this, in this area?
They are not. We've had Negro agents in the Bureau for some years, and we have at the present time Negro agents working in various parts of the country. They have been very satisfactory, very successful in their work. They can be used on types of cases where they can perform and accomplish better results even than white agents, where you have a large Negro sectors as you have in some of our large metropolitan cities. Negro agents are very valuable for use there. They must, however, meet the same qualifications that our white agents have to meet for appointment. They don't know. I may not. Just depends upon my other commitments this afternoon. Yes?
Mr. Hoover, if the bodies of the three missing workers are not discovered, how long do you estimate the search will go on?
That would be impossible to estimate that. We'll continue this search, searching every area where there is any possibility that they might be found. Now, of course, searches, as you well know, if in this general area of country where Philadelphia is located and down south and east and west of it, the area is a very difficult area to search. And the naval personnel that has been assigned to us by the Navy Department, totaling 400 men, have been working days in and days out trying to make as thorough a search as possible. It's entirely possible that a body can be missed in those kind of searches where you're searching in swamps, and where I understand that water moccasins are quite frequent and quite often seen. It's a very hard task. Those searches are being conducted not only by the naval personnel, but by the Mississippi Highway Patrol and by the FBI agents. The teams that are out searching in the various swamp areas are composed of all. I never have posed as a pessimist on anything. You're being around Washington as long as I am, you get a little callous to being pessimistic. If you don't have optimism, you can't have the enthusiasm, I believe, in which to do a job properly. I am enthusiastic and I'm optimistic about this case being solved. We will continue on it indefinitely. I'd like to just point out there have been cases, if you recall the Brinks bank robbery in Boston, that took 6 years to solve. And we finally ended up with the 11 culprits who were involved in that great robbery, the largest robbery of its kind in this country, and all of them are in the penitentiary at the present time. There have been other cases that we've been able to solve, like the Sinatra kidnapping case on the West Coast last December, which we solved in 5 days. But there have been kidnapping cases back in the 30s and 40s which ran on for 6, 7, 8, 9 months. This case will not be closed at any time until the solution is reached. Either the bodies are found, or if it has by any chance been a hoax, and it's far from my impression now that it is a hoax, that we will be able to completely expose it and give the full facts to the public.
Mr. Hoover,
Yes. It's gone into many other areas of the country for this reason. In any investigation of any kind, whether it be one of these racial cases or not, you have a great many leads that are brought to you by persons who think they saw this person or that person at some particular place, or who overheard a conversation. We found it particularly in the case of the assassination of President Kennedy. I think there have been leads in every state of the Union, Mexico, Europe, in the Far East even. So that we have to run them all down. You can't just say, well, this is a nut lead or this is a screwball, and we'll discard that. We might be confronted later with the fact that it turns up to be the real thing. So in this case, we have not confined our investigation solely within the state of Mississippi. We have leads that have led us into many other states that we have run out and are running out at present.